bruise in my vagina. And,
again, another answer you'll not hear, Roy Thompson.
I came on board the movie when my good friend, associate producer Brian Peck called me, and we talked, a few times a week, and said, "Oh, hey, I'm doing this movie," and I said, "Oh, what is it?" And he said, "Bitch Slap." And I went, "Oh, all right, that's interesting." And he said, "No, you'd be really good. I want you to come in." And he said, "My friends Eric Grundeman and Rick Jacobson are doing it." And I said, "Oh, okay. I don't know who they are, but okay." So I got there. I went to it was early casting. I went to Brian's house and met Rick and Eric, and discovered in the course of our meeting that Rick Jacobson had directed me in a movie 10 years ago called The Unborn 2.
And I forgot Ron. So we were both just like, dude, you look kind of familiar. And this is like, we fucking did a film together.
Unborn 2 was, I think, one of the finest films of the 1990s. You guys should all go check it out if you haven't seen it.
Absolute train.
John Graham, our composer, also composed
Right, Johnny
music
Graham.
for it. He's a good
So if you like a fan of John Graham, then rent the Unborn 2.
And my favorite memory of shooting the movie, I think, was at the scene at the end when I come out after having got my ass kicked and stabbed and punched and blown up, and shoot Camaro. And I remember very specifically, they were really, really specific about wanting to keep the lamp pole handcuffed to my arm, which wasn't...
That's what made it believable.
Yes. Because nobody saw the lamp pole shake when I shook it in the trailer. So, in addition to having the lamp pole handcuffed to my arm and being in the desert and hot and wind blowing and sandy, they didn't think that was enough. So I think it was Brian Peck at the time who was blowtorching the lamp so that it was on fire as it was handcuffed to my arm, singeing my leg hairs. Yeah, that was good times.
Hi everyone. I speak English. So I read the script and I thought, oh, thank you, Amanda. Oh, thank you. Show number. Okay. I read the script and I thought, wow, women that kick ass. That basically sold it for me, yeah. And I was like, well, and the script was interesting because it would say, and this person would say this person would say something, and then Kinky would just say something in Japanese. So what was great was they gave me a lot of freedom to say whatever I wanted. So if any of you speak Japanese, I am so sorry, because it's very vulgar. I went over it with my mom, and she's like, you cannot say that! They are going to dislike you! My accent, by the way, is my mother's accent. Okay, so story. This is my most memorable story on the movie. I'm getting shot. I'm in the sand. I'm rolling around. And cut. So someone was talking to me. I don't know. There was some downtime, and I felt a little movement down there, right? So I was like, holy crap. So I went behind the trailer. Out comes from my panty a huge spider. I get my script and I'm like, right? The legs are flailing, and the next morning I woke up with a bite on myself. And I remember thinking, that spider better have died with a smile on his face, because he just entered the Garden of Eden. You know, he was crawling around going, what's that amazing smell? I just
Zoe, how did you know these two guys?
Sorry, it was just the spiders. Well, basically, Eric rang me, and I'm going to be honest, it was the paycheck. Sold straight off the bat. He's like, look, we can probably give you about $100. Are you interested? I was a stunt double for many years, and I was a stunt double. And so, I was directed by Rick numerous times and worked with Eric, and So they contacted me and said that they were all about this thing. I don't know if there's there.
Jelly spiders.
Yes, please. Anyway, so spiders. But so these guys contacted me and were, Eric in particular was like, listen, we've got this movie, it's about chicks kicking ass, and we'd really like you to be involved, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, involved how exactly? And I was like, well, we'd like you to coordinate. And I was like, interesting. I coordinated a short film before where someone basically got strangled, and that was pretty much it. No spider bites, no vagina bites, no nothing. And so the thought of being responsible for that terrified me, and kind of the same thing. I mean, all right, you know, when these guys started saying, talking about wanting to make films because they wanted to enjoy it with people that they loved and respected, and having fun, and all the stuff that I feel like movie making should be about. I mean, I was just honoured, and you know, so I thought, well, it scares me, and I'm honoured, and so I'll work my ass off and see if it happens. And for me, the story is, quite honestly, sitting in there right now, watching these girls kick each other's ass so efficiently, watching the images that I had in my head, this big on a screen with a room full of people that are loving it, and I was really touched and proud, so thank you all.
There's an amazing film festival called Sitges in Spain outside of Barcelona. And I met Zoe. She was on the jury there, and I was like, there's gotta be some way I can get you to Toronto. There's gotta be some way. And actually, I didn't know initially when I heard about Bitch Slap that you were working on it. So I'm glad that we were able to get you, especially when you were behind the scenes, but to have you here, and it's an honor.
I love you too, because I'm probably the least interesting. I have two memories. I think it's been such an honor to work with Rick again. You know, he did more episodes for us down in New Zealand, I think, than any director. Obviously incredibly talented, but also, you know, we got on so well down there, and we always start talking about, maybe one day, maybe one day. And Rick and I think of this, of the writing process of this, like I think we called it the writing of 10,000 laughs. And we would get together, and we would just one-up each other all the time. And we'd sit around for hours and go, well, what if Hell does that? And we'd crack up and go, well, what if she does that? What if she says this? And it was probably one of the most joyous experiences of my life, second only to when we actually got to make this film. And I think, you know, when we started casting, one of the things that was very interesting is that a lot of people said, you know what? You're never going to find these ladies. You are never, ever going to find these ladies. And Rick and I kept saying, it's Los Angeles. There are a lot of talented people like, no, you don't understand. You've got whole pages, soliloquies that they have to do, and you've got all of this stuff, and they have to be able to fight, and they have to be gorgeous, and they have to be able to act, and they have to be able to be willing to do some of the things we are asking of them. Yeah. And I think probably one of the most gratifying things for us is the fact that, hopefully you would agree with me, I think we found them. And we actually are still, you know, we shot this movie over a year ago, and that we still are an incredibly tight-knit family, and we're very blessed to actually really like each other and support each other, and looking forward to doing it again. So those are my memories.
Do we have any? And just before I forget, the image that you saw tonight, that was digital projection. So, just saying. All right, sir, yell it out.
You guys mentioned the budget and stuff. We actually heard earlier, is it true that the budget's so tight that all the girls are staying in the same room tonight?
The question is, here the budget was so tight that they're staying maybe in the same room tonight?
Which one?
It has nothing to do with the tightness of the budget. It has everything to do with sort of...
It's really just on a volunteer basis. They offered us personal suites, and we're like, but we kind of like to snuggle.